Hi, my name is Megan and welcome to episode 100 of a Naughty Mess Knitting Podcast. The day is here. It's episode 100. I do have something fun to do. I talked about it a little bit last week and I did decide I'm doing it. I'm doing 100 things. I'm going to start the episode that way. I'm going to see how long it takes. It may just be 100 things and you guys get your updates next week. I will, though, at the end of the episode, regardless, go over this newly finished blocked beautiful book club cardigan. So we're going to wait till the very end for that, even though that's what I usually do in the beginning, because I'm not going to break up the flow of knitting chat. So let's go through the 100 things. Strap in. I hope you're excited. As a couple of people have mentioned, I talk quickly, so I think we'll be able to get through this 100 relatively quickly. So I've got 10 categories of 10. There are a couple that are not quite 10, but we'll talk about those. And I'm not going to even do honorable mentions, though there's so many of these things I want to share more than 10, but I'm going to stick to 10. So, and I'll let you know if there's like in a certain time period type thing for this. So first category, and our most, apropos, because this is a knitting podcast, mostly knitting, is my favorite garment makes. I did actually say just garment makes in case there was a crochet one that fell in here of like just a couple crochet things. They didn't. So these are all my favorite knit garments. Not all of them were for me. Nearly all of them are, but I will tell you if it is the make or the wear or both about why I loved it so much, because it's a little different for some of these. This is in no particular order, just as I kind of saw them on my Ravelry page. So number 1, the Traveler. And I'm going to maybe flash these pictures up super fast if I do it. So look out here. The Traveler hoodie. I learned new things while making this. It's also super cute and comfortable to wear. So for me, that's a both, make and wear. The DRK Everyday, also a make and wear. Not even that it's the best fitting thing I have, but I'm so proud to wear it because this was my first spin to knit sweater and it is my Naughty Mess yarn. So I love it so much for so many reasons. Number 3, my sea glass, which I just finished. That's not even that it was the most enjoyable make, but it's the end product artwork. So sort of in between those two things. I've only worn it a couple times. It's also probably not my favorite thing to wear. Circular yokes really are not my favorite thing to wear, but I feel so proud of it. So yeah, it falls there. The heirloom quilt cardigan, not the making. Definitely the wearing, also just like a very proud moment, partly because of the colors, partly because of the layout, partly just because it's huge and it took me forever. Slanty stripes, actually, this is on here more because of the colors. This was a make and wear, actually. I made this pretty quickly. It was a very enjoyable making process because I got to play around with how I wanted my colors to be in the little builder from Emily. This is an Emily Curtis pattern. She is also a friend of mine, so that's very fun, but I envisioned these colors working well together and I'm so glad they did. So this one is a happy moment of make and wear. The Scotch broom wrap, not a make, love. I didn't hate it, but now that I have a really cute skirt that I showed last week that I wore to Katie's bachelorette weekend, I have a perfect outfit for this and I love it. I love it. It's one of the things that makes me feel the cutest when I wear it of my knit things. The next one on here is not for me, but the checker plate. This was a make. I mean, it was cute on. I really liked wearing it. I will make my own. It was a really amazing make. I don't know why. I enjoyed the entire process start to finish. The ashling. Actually a little bit make and wear. The make, I feel like it was a little bit of a struggle, that single strand of Surrey, but it's lighter than a cloud. So fun to wear. And I learned things while I made it. So yeah, make and wear. I have Doppio on here. I've got 3 Doppios. I don't even know if I pick a picture, probably just one of them. I just think this sweater is a workhorse. It's amazing. It's fun. You can see all the kinds of yarn combos that are possible out there. And it's great. And pretty easy to modify a couple things to give yourself a fresh new look every time you make it. Flower Child is on here. I love this t-shirt. I didn't even put the skyline on here, which is another one that I love so much. And like maybe all the Tori Yu things I've ever made are sort of honorable mentions, but I love the flower child. It's one of those, another one, maybe not my favorite thing to make only because those bobbles really killed me. And there's a lot of twisted knit in the lace, but it is a thing that makes me like, just puts a smile on my face every time I put it on. Now we're going to favorite other projects. This is a big category because I've been knitting for a really long time and crocheting. And I went through all of the other projects on that I have in Ravelry. That's not everything I've ever knit by any means, but most of the things I've knit since like 2013, 2014. Okay. I think, again, not in a particular order, just going through my Ravelry, and I will pop pictures up here because some of these are really old and you guys won't even have known of these. Okay, number 1, my curiosity hat. I learned something new. I like surprised myself about how much I like the look and feel of this on my head, and it was with handspun. I didn't think I was going to use otherwise, so A+. My grid gambit, one of my favorite handspuns in here. The color combo is magic and it's just so gorgeous. Perfect cowl for when it gets cold again. I finished it right as it started getting warm, so I've not really worn it much, but I have a couple socks on here. The 2 pairs that I'm going to talk about that I just love so much, my Vervain socks. It was the last of my 2023 year of socks that I got from Farmer's Daughter Fibers. I got the year of socks and I made one a month. And this was like the perfect color and a pattern combo. And they are just gorgeous. I don't know what it is about them, but they are my prettiest socks. The second socks on here are actually my Krufka. I've made this twice. I find this pattern to be very enjoyable. I've made it toe up and cuff down, and yeah, love them. The brownstone beanie. It's the most plain hat I have ever made for myself, and I definitely wear it the most. Okay. Only one stuffy on here, and I've made many, and several of these are not on here because this was before I was like taking good pictures of them and or putting them on Ravelry, but I have now made 4 of these. This is called the Happypotamus. I'll pop up at least 2 of them. And I've made them with slightly different yarns and slightly different gauges, but I will be making one for Theo this year, and it's one of my they're joyful. They're African flower motifs. So happy and fun to put them together, to play with colors, to do all the things. So love these. Okay, this one is a very Finnish name, but it's called Villa Pujola, and it is a crazy looking, this is the most fun baby blanket I've ever made. And they're just like animal heads. And this was for my cousin Dan, his first kid. And when we were little, Dan always told me he wanted to be a zookeeper, not his job right now, but in reference to that, I made him an animal blanket for the first kid. Okay, maybe my most proud, probably my most proud baby blanket is the Puff Stitch flower blanket. This thing took 9 bajillion years, and is actually the reason why I have so many Instagram followers, just because one time I had a reel blow up and I like reels about how to make this, and it's a really fun pattern. It was really fun to play with colors. It was just, yeah, overall it was fun to do, but torturous and took a million years. Okay, the other 2 things that actually on here are blankets. There are other things I've loved to make and that I've made many times over, but these ones I feel like I either like learned a fun technique. So this one is the graphic glam, and this one was just really fun to make. I just remember really enjoying the process. I also made this entire blanket while watching Younger on TV. So like it just sticks with me in my brain. That's what I remember. And then I made the boho rainbow bobble blanket, and this one went so fast, and there's so many color combos that you can do, like a non-traditional rainbows for this. And it's one of my favorite things that I would love to make again for somebody else. Okay, those are on to our next also knit related topic and most of these are knit related topics, by the way, but not all of them. So this is my most worn garments. And I've been tracking since 2024 January. I did not track my first like 4 months of the podcast. I just wasn't tracking before. And so this is likely actually true for the most worn things, because even some of the things I made before I didn't wear all that often. So let's go from most wears combine 2024 and 5 numbers from top to bottom. So the superlative. This is the one that I put on after work sometimes. It's just super cozy. It's probably the one I wear on the weekends the most. Very sweatshirty feel. Love it. And I don't feel fussy about it. So also, like, I think I was wearing it with Theo earlier. Number 2 is my Skyline tee. I talk about this all the time. It's my most worn t-shirt. Yeah. So I made this in April of last year, and it's early summer here. I've not even worn that many t-shirts. It's already the top there. Okay, this is fun. So this is my top sweater, tee, and cardigan are all just the top numbers. Not that this is just 21, 21, and 20 wears. So, Calm Down cardigan. I wear this one all the time. This is one of the ones I told you I hate that I love so much, but I love it. I wear it. It's so easy to put on. It's so cute. The next one is my duotone. This one also is very sweatshirty feel, and I think it's like just the perfect like warmth in our kind of cold wet seasons, so I wear that one a lot. My Doppio number 1, also similar, I think partly because even though it's a bulky weight, the gauge is pretty open, so I just grab it a lot, and this is the pink one, so it's my first one. I just had that the longest. The next one is my Ashling, and the Ashling is just, I love it so much. It's the perfect thing to put on when it's cold or chilly, but not really cold. And then my Leith. My Leith is not my favorite colors, but I grab it a lot. I like cardigans. I didn't think that I was a cardigan person. That's why I didn't make them for a while. And now, yeah, clearly. So, the Wood Anemone, actually this one I finished at the very end of winter last year. So like in March or something. So I wouldn't have worn it in January, February of last year, but I wore a ton over this past winter. So that's why that's on the list. My Ali's Light, because it's fingering weight garment. I like fingering weight garments. I like how they feel. They're perfect for work, especially if it's like kind of our in-between seasons, which was a lot here. And I do like the color work yoke. It looks nice on camera. And then my Skyline. And my Skyline is on here, even though I hate this yarn. So that, I need to make another one. So I will both love the yarn and love the garment. Okay, favorite things in my stash I have next to me. This is in no particular order, and just things I pulled out. So I'm clearly feeling a little bit in a variegated mood because a lot of these are variegated. This is called Stolen Moments. This is a recent purchase on Rocky's DK. Maybe I'm more jazzed about some of my recent purchases because that's a lot of this. But there's just something to me about this. It's just like deep and moody and perfect. Okay. This one, not deep and moody and perfect, but is variegated and crazy. I'm attached also because of the yarn inspiration color. This is a true wolf and is the Crescent City color from Witchfire Fibers. And I have enough to make some sort of sweater with this, and I'm one single strand of Surrey, excited. Also, this mix is alpaca, silk, cashmere, and I think is going to be like even better than regular Surrey. This is that same combo. So maybe that's also why I'm excited about this one, but this is 3. This is number 3 together because that's cheating, but whatever. This is going to be a sweater, and it's probably like the most perfect light neutral for me ever made. Okay. This one's not for me, but this one's for Theo, and I think I'm just excited to also use this soon, but this is just so happy. It's the happiest color. It's Sagrada Familia from Explore Knits and Fibers. Oh, by the way, so we've got Explore Knits and Fibers, and then Witchfire and the Fiber Fox. So we're getting a good mix here. The next one is going to be these two, also another kind of combo cheat, but now that I'm not going to make the birch with this one, I am going to use these together. I'm actually really more excited about that. This is Elmer Tweed in Sprinkles and Neon Sign from Diamond Lane. And then I've got this new-ish from Paisley Knits that is Sweet Nothing. I think I'm just really excited about this base. I have this in another color, which I'm almost equally excited about, but didn't make it on the pile. Partly because this is just like such a fun, it's feeling summery to me. So I love this. I really want to try this, Merino, Silk, and Yak. Like a 30-40-30. So that's going to be like so perfect for the summer. Okay. The next one's also purple. maybe I'm in a purple kick right now. You guys, there's no teal in this pile. I don't even know what's happening. Who am I? It's because I don't have that much teal left. I've knit all of it. This is Ruby and Roses in the color Melancholia. It's one of her Taylor Swift colors. It is just, I think, like, I love the way she does sprinkles. And so this sprinkle just, it gets me excited every time I see it. I have a couple of sprinkles from her that I have not used any of her yarn yet, and I'm really excited to. This one is a base I'm excited about and a color. So this is Vigilante Shit. This is from, also from the Heirs collection from Paisley Knits. These two are. And this is her Albatross DK, which is 100 or 70% Falkland, 15% baby alpaca, and 15% silk. And I've just heard the best things about this base. It's a 2-ply. It's so vibrant. Excited. The next one is also a similar color. We've got a vibe going here. Maybe I'm in a blue-purple mood. This is Daevabad. If you know the I'm Blue song, that's this one. This is just a merino nylon from Porter Wool Co., but it's like maybe the most fun color ever. One I'm really excited to have a t-shirt in soon. In the future, right? And then this one is also from, like this one is from the Solstice boxes last year, and this is Story Weave on Denali Sock. And just like, how gorgeous is this color? It's one that surprised me with how much I loved it. I didn't expect to like it just from the pictures, and I am blown away. So that's that. Okay, now category 5 is going to be 5 and 5. So this is my top favorite spins and my top favorite fibers. Let's do spins first. And I will pull them out if I have them. If not, I'll pop a picture up. So my first and most favorite spin, this is maybe in order, maybe not, but is my A Naughty Mess spin. I mean, I can't, obviously, there's so many reasons. Trisha did the most amazing job with the color, and the spin was fun, and I love Shaniko. It's where I really, really fell in love with Shaniko. Okay, the second favorite spin is Chasing Fireflies. That's this skein here. This was my like dream skein that I bought as my first hand-dyed fiber during my spin class, that I was like, I really hope I could spin nicely one day and make this. And it was 1 year almost exactly after I started spinning or took my class that I made this, and I feel very proud of it, and I love knitting with it. That's what was in my grid gambit. Next, I have my cotton spin. Not that this was my favorite thing to spin, but I feel like really happy about the result of this one, and so it's up there on the list for me. I've got a lot of spins here that I really love. So I think this one is because it surprised me. This is my Superwash sock spin, and I just wasn't sure how I was gonna like the color and everything, but this one just feels like so when I'm feeling moody, this is the exact colors I want. And so pleasantly surprised about colors there. And then my last favorite spin was actually this Bridget Bat. And I was just thinking about things I really enjoyed doing and or really love the outcome. And this one I really enjoyed doing. I spun from a bat. I still spun forward because there's quite a lot of silk in this, but I just really enjoyed like the squish, how it went to spin from a bat, like just the whole thing. I loved it. Now, my favorite fibers in order, I think this is in order for right now. And I have not done a lot of I've not done like really any long draw. So I will say that this could change in the future for sure. And just as I spin other things and like them. But for me, it's Shaniko, Rambouillet, Merino. And Merino and Cormo are really close. Cormo is the next one. I really love spinning Cormo. And then Targhee, surprisingly. Since the first time I spun Targhee, I was like, nope, don't like this. And it was just a weird prep. Since then, have really enjoyed it. So those are just the 5 that I could think of that I really enjoyed. Okay, next category is my favorite knitting fiber tools and notions. Okay, so I'm not going to pop all of these up and I'm just going to talk about them, but I love number one, this is truly number 1. Some of these are not in order, is my ChiaoGoo interchangeable 4-inch needle set. I have the shorties for ChiaoGoo. That was the first that I got to do some sleeves and more varying sizes. I like my 3 inches also. I don't really love the 2 inches. I almost never use them, but I use like the 2.75 to 5 set of Chagus all the time. That's mostly what all of my needles are, or that like all my projects are always on. And I just love them. I love the cords. I think it's the no memory cords. That's probably the thing that I love the most. But also I really enjoy knitting with metal. And I didn't know that until I got the set. My second favorite is my wheel. And it's just maybe in order of the things I use the most, but I love my wheel. I have a ladybug, as I've talked about many times. I'm so glad I made that decision. And in combo with, that's like, same part of this is that my husband got me a Lazy Kate, the Lazy Kate attachment for the ladybug. So there, I've just like the spindles on there. And that's like a game changer for me. And then I don't have to keep track of other things. I don't have to like put up and down or find space for the Lazy Kate. It's just right there. And I've gotten used to applying from there, and I really enjoy it. Okay, the next thing, maybe also because I use this a lot, is my ball winder in Swift. Mike just upgraded for Mother's Day my Swift as well, so now I have like a wood umbrella Swift, and then I have the Fiber People Arts, I think that's what it's called, ball winder, and it's quiet and glorious, and I love it. I love my Quartzsmith. This is number 5. My Quartzsmith is just like, I mean, it is really awesome. I don't use it to just make I-cord and I-cord projects, but it's come in handy enough times in the last like year and a half that it's up there on my notions I love. Okay, my next thing is number 6 is my Progress Keepers. My Progress Keepers are life. I love them. I've got tons from Hello Lavender. I've got some from Denim and Rain. I've got some from Knitting and Root. And I've got some just random ones that people have gifted me or I've bought from wherever, festivals or something. And they make me happy. Yeah, and I love them. So I'm a big fan. At first I was like, why would people want this over just like regular stitch markers? And it's joy. That's the answer. And that's great. That's a great answer. Okay. The next thing I love is my Yarn Butler. I have 3 of them. I have one that's a double. So it's really, I guess it's 2, but I have one that's a double and one that's a single. And the double can also just pull off. So these I can put on my wrist and knit as I move about. I can also put them on the table and they spin. That's probably the thing that I use them. That's how I use them the most. And good for traveling too, for me in the car and other places. I have yarn like running all over the place. Because I'm an outside puller, they're an amazing tool to have. Okay, here's my last things. And these are just like things that are not glamorous, but things I love so much. Okay, number 8 is my Flock bag. This is the bag from the first year of Flock. And I think the ones from last year were really similar. I have it right here. And every one of the people in my knitting group, I think like have this now, or most of us do. And we still all bring these to knit night. They're just big. There's only one pocket inside, which is not the most useful thing ever, but it's just big and like hefty, and it has a nice flat bottom, and I love it. I can put several project bags in there, smaller ones, and yeah, they do it all the time. Okay, number 9 is my sweater shaper. This is maybe not the best sweater shaper on the planet or anything, but I have the one from Knit Picks I got like 5 years ago, and it's amazing and still works great, and it's a great way to refresh any of your knits. And then my least glamorous thing on here for sure is my OXO blocking mat. And I think I had been pinning a lot of sweaters and like laying them down, but with our climate and I mean, especially in the wet months, it's so nice to have the double airflow. So if you don't need to block with a lot of pins, though I do sometimes stick a couple pins in this and it's fine. It is really nice to have something block a little bit faster, and this helps. Okay, some of these topics I got from, a couple of people that posted about what would be fun to figure out or to learn from me. And so this one is one of those topics because I thought it'd be a fun thing to share. So this is my favorite things to do in Seattle. This is in and around the region. These are not all things that I do very frequently, but especially if I have people coming to visit who have never been here before or who have been and like we want to do outside exploring things. I'm a bit of a homebody. I also have a toddler. She has done some of these things and totally loves them. So actually the first thing is the thing we do the most, the zoo. We have the best zoo here. If you've been to like smaller city zoos or zoos that feel like concrete jungles, like don't think of that for this. This is all about, the Woodland Park Zoo is a lot about conservation and education on endangerment for species. So there's a lot of good that they do also, but it's 100 acres. It's a huge park. It's got shady parts, and the animals, most of them, you know, have quite a lot of room. And, you know, even though Theo's not super into the animals, it's a place that she loves to go. It's safe for us to walk around and let her wander. And so we love it. Another thing that I used to do all the time pre-child, and I did actually take Theo a lot when she was in the stroller, was walk around Green Lake. It's a little park right in the middle of North Seattle area. It's a man-made lake, but it's got a 5K track around it, and it's just a great way to like walk safely with your dogs and your kids and your whatever. It's not great for toddlers if they wander because there's a lot of foot traffic, but it is really nice thing to do when it's nice out. And I used to live really close to it. The aquarium. We've actually not taken Theo, maybe one time, but not since she was a little bit bigger to play in the tide pools, but we have a pretty cool aquarium here, and it just got an expansion like a year and a half ago. So that is a fun thing to do if you are visiting, especially if you're staying downtown, because it's right there on the pier. The whole pier area is pretty cool to see. Okay, the next thing is something that I have not done in years, really since pre-pandemic maybe, but my company that I used to work for before we got purchased had a boat. So boating on Lake Washington is one of my very favorite things to do. Being actually on the lake and jumping in to swim is really fun. And I mean, I think for me, better than wading in just because there's a lot of rocks and stuff. So jumping in is great. It's pretty fresh water. It turns over often, but boating on the lake was really fun and definitely like just a joy going. I did wakeboarding boats or just like bigger boats. And if you do have the chance to ever come visit Seattle, get on a boat, either anywhere, get on any of the boats. There's like Union tours, there's like Washington tours, and then there's also things you can rent, and even the Puget Sound. Great. All of it fun. Okay. Another boat related thing. Actually, I have 3 boat related things on here. Okay. The next one is take a ferry. The ferries here are amazing. I know they're super iconic, but it is a really fun thing too, especially if you can drive onto the ferry, because you're like, what is happening? This is the craziest thing. Just drive right onto a boat and then you just drive right off. And that is so fun. But if you even walk on from downtown to go to Bainbridge, that's a really great, it's a 30-minute ferry, and you can just walk right into Bainbridge from there. It's only like 3/4 of a mile or less. But if you also are staying up north or anything, the Kingston Edmonds ferry, Kingston's also super walkable. It's a little bit smaller than Bainbridge. Really beautiful, really fun. And if you're going to the peninsula ever, I would definitely say take the ferry over as an experience. Okay. The next boat related thing is Ballard Locks. We haven't brought Theo there since she was pretty little, so I don't think she remembers it, but we probably will go a couple times this summer. It's the best to go when the salmon are running, because you can go see, there's a salmon ladder that you can see the salmon jumping up, and that's pretty fun. That's like, this late summer, maybe like August, September. I can't remember, but it's a place where you can see boats go from Lake Union into the Puget Sound and vice versa, and they have like level. It's like a water elevator for boats. It's really crazy. So it's a cool thing to see. And there's a really beautiful park on the Ballard side, and like a couple places to eat nearby. Number 7 we have is eat fresh oysters. If you've never had them, you should try them here. If you have had them and didn't love them somewhere else, you should still try them here. There's a lot of really great places to go. Taylor Fish Co. I think maybe Carpenter and Walrus is still a thing. Westward. There's a bunch of really beautiful places to go eat them. And there's a lot of times where they're less expensive over happy hour, and sometimes you can check your own. And there's like so many things to do with oysters, but it's really an experience, and it's such a magical thing here because they taste the best. Okay. The other thing that's inside of Seattle still is go to Pike Place. Pike Place is amazing. There's actually a ton of stuff to do. Seattle Center is also really cool. There's like the sculpture park. There's a bunch of stuff downtown, but I do think Pike Place being an iconic thing in Seattle for a reason. It is cool. It's fun to walk around. You can get samples of some stuff, like try Elenos yogurt, go to across the street. That's where the Elenos stand is. There's also like from the main Pike Place, there's also like fruit vendors that will give you slices of stuff. There's oftentimes like, just if you wander in, you can get samples of things, or you can like buy some fun local art or produce, and it's a great thing, especially for seafood. The next one, these two are 9 and 10 are not in Seattle, but really fun things to do if you're in the area for a little bit longer. One of those is go to Leavenworth. It doesn't actually matter what season. Leavenworth is beautiful all year round, and it's just like so strange to have a Bavarian village here in Washington. It's about 2.5 hours from the city or so, but it's really great if you are feeling really fancy and you want to stay out there for a couple of days. Go to Post Hotel. I talked about this last year when I went. Magical time, and something that is like I'm looking forward to going again. The last one is the San Juan Islands. We've only been a few times, and even Mike growing up here like has been, you know, a handful of times. He doesn't go a lot, but really any of our islands are great. But the San Juan Islands specifically are just, they're really beautiful. There's a lot of hiking you can do there. They're not super populated. It's just a really fun, like, get out of town retreat. I am now going to talk about books. And then the last category is back to a little bit of knitting things, but like more introspective. Okay, let's talk about books. So as you know, books are a big thing over here on this podcast. And so I have broken this into 2 categories. So this is category 8 and category 9. My favorite series, and then my favorite standalones, or when like just one book stood out a lot. Some of these are all just also unfinished series. So let's go through fave series. In total, like series I've loved in total. I've actually only going to talk about things I've read since starting the podcast. I definitely have other favorites, but in reality, that's going back like 400 books, and I just didn't want to onto like on Goodreads or Storygraph. So I'm going to tell you things that you've probably heard me talk about, and I'm just reminding you. This is not really in a particular order, though. Yeah, not really in a particular order. Okay, so though maybe this is number 1. Everything else not in particular order. This is a Scholomance series. The first one is A Deadly Education by Naomi, Novak, and I absolutely want to tell everybody all the time to go read this. It's super fun. Dark academia, sort of, but also not really. Just really, really fun fantasy series. A little bit darker. Okay, The War of Lost Hearts. This was the first Carissa Broadbent series that I read, and by far my favorite of all of her books, and so good. The first one is called The Daughter of No Worlds. The next one is Psy-Changeling Trinity series. Okay, actually this one is by Nalini Singh, and this is a series that's now like 30 books long or something, and it's broken into 2, Psy-Changeling and then Psy-Changeling Trinity. And I think since starting the podcast, I've read like 2 of them, because that's like the releases that have come out, and I read all the ones before. But if you love a little bit of fated mates and an overarching story, but getting individual love stories, this one is for you. Changelings, and also people that have mind powers. And it is so good in that they're all a little bit predictable and dumb, but the overarching story is like kind of bad. I mean, like not bad as it's threatening to the whole world. And I love it. Okay. I love it. Don't care what other people say. The next here is the Daevabad trilogy. I read this one like last year, I think. And I think also this is more fantasy than there's not a lot of romance. It's just a tiny bit sprinkled in here and there. Such a good, amazing storyline. Okay. I put Lord of the Rings in here, even though I've read this many times. I did read it last year, and it is just, it's the blueprint. It's the blueprint for all the fantasies, and it's so good. Every time I read it, I feel joy. And so, yeah, it's on here. Okay, Throne of Glass is on here because Throne of Glass, reading it right now, it's a reminder to me that this was a wild ride, and I still really love it. I love everybody. In the 7th book, I'm deep into feeling like all of the things right now, like tragedy and angst and tension, and I love it. Okay. The next is actually not a fantasy series. Maybe the only non-fantasy on here is Heartstopper. This is by Alice Oseman. I love this book. So these are graphic novels, and just go read all of them. Just go read them. They will give you hope and joy and remind you like why love is so important. Heartstopper. Go read them. Okay. The next is Little Thieves. This is by Margaret Owen, and I just think these are phenomenal. Every one of them is such a distinct type of story, and she really plays with her characters so much. And yeah, I I loved them. I thought all of them were so great. Okay. The next one on here is Once Upon a Broken Heart by Stephanie Garber. And I just loved the play of like fairy tale and other things that are in here. It's really fun. It's a really fun book. Again, this is a love story, and I think the third one just like, whew, it really cut me deep. And so, yeah, I say go. This was a good trilogy. The last one is actually an incomplete series, but one that I've told so many people to read recently that I just feel like I had to make it on the list. And this is The Saint of Steel. And there's 4 books out. I think there were supposed to be 7. I don't know if those last 3 are ever coming, but even still, the 4, each of them alone are amazing. So go read them. And a reminder that the first one, the paladin, is a knitter, and he's got maybe some of the best knitting lines ever inside of a book. Okay. Now for standalones or books that I liked, just themselves enough. So, my favorite romance of the last 2 years was The 7-Year Slip. Hands down, it blew my mind. The surprise was not necessarily a surprise, but the wrap-up was impeccable. Okay, and that's by Ashley Poston. Then I have on here The Husbands by Heather Gramazio. I've just told a lot of people to read this. It's fun. It's so fun. It's not the best love story by any means, but like so fun and a good commentary on modern dating. The Wall of Winnipeg and Me. I think this is my favorite. It's really hard actually for me to pick. There's like 3 Mariana Zapatas that I've really truly loved. This was the second one I read, and I love a sports romance. So maybe it just trumps the All Roads Lead Here by just a tiny bit. Okay. Quicksilver. I've talked about this a lot. I know there's a lot of mixed opinions on people think this book is good or not, but I do not care. It sucked me in so hard, so fast, and I finished it really quickly, and I'm going to read it again before I read the second one, so I think that tells you a lot. Okay, Bride by Ali Hazelwood. Got a lot of feelings about Ali Hazelwood, but this one in particular, her writing a paranormal, I was really skeptical, and I really liked it. Okay, the next one on here, number 6, is First Time Caller. This is by B.K. Borson. I just read this one, and I don't know what it was about it, but I just really loved it. I think it was the issue that the main character had, just dealing with loneliness. I thought it was just such a great one. The next one, this is so hard for me to pick, but I picked one Christina Lauren book. I've loved all of the Christina Lauren books I've read pretty much, but this one is Something Wilder. I thought maybe it's because a little bit of the book, there's a semi high stakes like treasure map kind of thing happening, and it's really fun and sort of unexpected. Then I have one Emily Henry. I've also liked most of the Emily Henry books I've read. Like, I've loved all of them really, but like I definitely have a ranking. I actually think this one is maybe my favorite, and it's Funny Story. I think this, again, just the banter, the characters, I really enjoyed it. Okay, my favorite Annabelle Monaghan book that I read last year, and I just really enjoyed these, maybe just because the characters are a bit more mature. This one was Summer Romance. Summer Romance was... I think about this one sometimes, like quite often. So they had to make it on the list. And then this one is part of a series, but I only picked this one, and that is Yours Truly by Abby Jimenez. I wanted to pick an Abby Jimenez book because I've really enjoyed a lot of her books, and I've read all of them in the last year and a half or so. But I thought this one was maybe the most interesting in the love interest, and like commentary on some neurodivergence and falling in love, and I really enjoyed it. My last category is kind of a mishmash. I wanted to talk about some of the things I've learned knitting or podcasting, and also some of the things I still want to do knitting wise. So I'm going to do those things first, and it's not a long list actually. The 2 things I want to still try and have not, just like techniques, is steeking and felting. Okay, that's 1 and 2. I'm going to felt something this year. I will probably steek something next year. And I think it's a good thing to continue. There are other things I have not tried for sure. I've done a lot of the types of things, you know, cables, brioche, like different kinds of stitches and methods. I've made cardigans, I've made sewn garments, I've done top down, I've done bottom up, you know, I don't know. I've done a lot of different things, but those are two I have not. I don't know that I want to do like a steeked cardigan. Maybe that'll be a thing. I'm thinking more like something where the armholes are steeked would be kind of a fun thing. So I don't know. We'll see. Okay, now things I've learned since knitting. I think I have three main things that I think I've learned. The first is patience. It just takes a long time. I think this is a really great thing for me to help like grow my patience just with myself too, as it takes time to learn new skills and techniques. I felt like I learned a lot of patience and a little bit of grace while spinning, being like, okay, this is just not going to be perfect and I'm going to have to spend the time to be better at it. Same with knitting, is like just over time realizing that like though I could knit, I have become a better knitter, and that is through putting in the time and effort. That goes into number 2, which is persistence. I think you're not going to be perfect at most of the things you try in your life at the beginning. Some people are really gifted in certain things, but persistence is how you get better. And it's I think it's helped me to, sometimes you have to put something down and then you pick it back up, but to just continue to try and grow my skill. That's also, I think, with podcasting has come up, being persistent, just like doing it over and over and feeling more comfortable and liking the results. Okay, the next one is, I think, I'm not really a perfectionist, but it's a great lesson that I've had to keep in mind during all of the knitting. Doesn't matter how long I've been knitting. So it's okay if something's not perfect. And just knowing when to be okay with imperfections too. Like there are some times where you have to rip back and you have to be okay with ripping back. That goes back to a little bit of patience and persistence as well. It's not always going to be perfect the first time, but then there's also certain things that you realize there was a little boo-boo, there's a little something, like you can't then just hate your garment or whatever. Like there are things that are garment ruining that you do have to go back and fix, but there's a lot of little things that you can be like, this is my human input right here. This like, this hole, this miss, this whatever. This is a thing that is just okay because I made it with my hands. And I love that. Okay, so that's 5 things I want to do, things I've learned during knitting. Here's 5 things I've learned during podcasting. 1 is that it takes a super long time to edit. I don't know if any of you know this, and partly it's because I do cut more than maybe some podcasters do. They just sit and talk with mistakes and all, but I talk a lot, and so sometimes I just gotta take things out. Sometimes also I've got a kid yelling in the background and I have to pause and then pick it back up. Sometimes I also just talk out of order and I need to put things back in what makes more sense for the episode. Editing just takes a really long time. It's also not a skill that I am particularly great at, and so learning that has been an interesting thing. The next is actually something I feel like maybe just also with age, but I've become a lot more, and I think knitting garments has made this happen for me too. I have become so much more comfortable with my body. Maybe it's because I had to get real with, hey, if you're making clothes, you really need to know your measurements. You need to know like your shoulders and how things fit. And I think it's been interesting. I've been, I've been on a journey about my weight and self-image my entire life. And as a plus size person, I think there's so much shame and other feelings that can come along with that. And I think I'm past my 30s. I am married. I think being settled makes you feel a little bit different, but also I just have learned to love the shape I have right now. Will that be my shape forever? Certainly not. You age, things change, but I think that really appreciating my body and all the things that it can do for me and how things fit me and to find and make things that fit me best has been a really healing journey. And also in tandem with that is learning to take pictures that I feel happy with. It's not about tricking the camera angle. A lot of it for me is getting a tripod, trial and error, and seeing myself. So I do all of my pictures are front facing pictures because I need to see like what I'm doing. So I'm not making weird faces and not having to take even more pictures. Getting a remote control and a tripod were game changers for me. I think a little bit is also because I've become more comfortable with my body. I look more confident in pictures. I think that's a lot. It's a lot. I mean, that's a lot of it. You look better when you feel more confident, and knitting the things that fit me well has helped. I mean, all of these things kind of go together, but that is one thing I've definitely learned. And I definitely was not doing this as well before the podcast, and not because of the podcast necessarily, but I definitely, amped up my garment making, and in that journey have learned this skill. And it's something that I think is really helpful to me just in general. Okay, here's just a commentary thing maybe, but it's a thing I had to learn to be okay with. Online popularity is weird, y'all. Like, putting out 100 episodes and not growing my base of viewers by a lot is a thing I've just had to be like, okay, that's fine, because I'm not here for quantity. I'm here for quality. I have the best viewers. That's another point on here. But I do think it's a thing that I was like, okay, I don't know how this is going to go. And I've just had to be okay with the journey. And I am not mad about it. I think maybe at first I didn't really have any expectations, then got a slew right in the beginning of followers, and then really was steady after that. And I didn't know what to expect. So it's just been really interesting to see how this goes, and trying to keep myself also just like out of the race, because that's not what it's about for me. I'm not trying to be the most popular. I'm trying to make a journal that I feel good about out in the world that is hopefully helpful to others, and to keep you company and be your knitting friend. That's what I'm here for. Okay, the next thing that I learned, okay, this is actually, maybe this is out of order a little bit, but the next thing is that I have really, just since this is like maybe knitting and podcasting, but like I think of it, I put it in the podcasting category because it's really since I've been spinning too. But the more I learn about fiber, the better my garments have become. And so I don't know that this is like a thing I can tell you to go learn more about fiber, but it's also being open to trying new types of fiber, trying some non-superwash fibers, but also just like if they're available to you, try things like linen and silk, and the different compositions really do play better with certain patterns than others. And I think not being afraid to do something that's different than what's on the pattern page. Sometimes it's really fun to find patterns through Ravelry because other people have used that fiber. So I think just being conscious about what you're choosing to go together has been something I've learned definitely since garment making, especially. So, I mean, that'd be a subject I'd love to talk about more at some point, but that is just definitely a thing that, like, being conscious of my fiber and pattern choice has changed a lot of how happy I am with the final garments for some of these things. And maybe why I've loved some of my like more recent garments more, just generally. Okay, the last thing is this community here is the best. I don't even, like I said before, like I'm doing this for me and for you. And it's not about how many people are here watching, because I don't need more people. I need the people who feel invested and engaged, and you guys are the best. So I've loved all the comments I've ever gotten on the podcast episodes. I've loved all of the Discord community, chats, help that you give each other, encouragement you give to each other, check-ins, anything. It's the best. All of our cows have been super fun. I love the monthly chats, which I know we've been busy this last couple weeks, but we are going to have one next week. For the cow, but also like if you want to jump in there and you're not in the cow, just come in and hang out with us. And then like meeting up at Flock, having people chat with me during Rose City, like just absolutely the best to meet you. I love the fiber community. I love how inclusive, accepting, and helpful people are to each other. That's the kind of environment I want to foster. This is not about being like cool or having sponsorships or any of the other things to me. This is about like creating space for makers to learn and meet each other, and even if it's just online, having that fun community. It's all about community. Okay, that's all for my 100 things. I hope that was fun for you. Okay, so as promised, I'm gonna at least address this on the episode. And then I'm actually gonna do a really rapid fire. I mean, I think that was about 45 minutes of 100 things. And so I'm gonna do a really rapid fire go through of this plus updates so that we have them, because this is an updates episode. It's episode 100. So here we are. Let me stand up. Okay, this is my book club cardigan. Y'all, I'm so excited about this. I'm glad it's done. First of all. Second of all is I'm pretty happy with how it came out. It is not measurement wise what I thought I would get. Yeah. And then I think a little bit of that is gauge and some other things, but here it is. So it's got pretty long arms, but I knew this was going to happen because I needed this to be the end of the chart. I wanted it to be the end of the chart, and so I've got a little bit longer. I wish I had gone like 4 extra rows. I did probably only have enough yarn for maybe 4 extra rows. So, you know, I was nervous for a reason. Like, I do still have some yarn left over, but not a lot. And if it would have increased the button band, like it wouldn't have been, it would maybe 4 extra yards. Plus I also had, you know, the pocket. I did do pockets. Boop, boop. They are little. That's why I really would want the forest rose, just to be able to stick more of my hand in here. But I'm going to be real serious. I doubt I'm going to even do this very often. Maybe I will. Maybe I'll put a chapstick in there, but I'm not going to have a lot of stuff in my pockets. I don't need my phone in my pocket here, so it's fine. But I did do buttons. These buttons are something I actually got at Rose City. I think I couldn't find them when I showed you what I got at Rose City. And here they are. They look like they're little plasticky buttons. I don't know. They're like semi-translucent teal, and I just thought that they would be really cute with this, and I love it. They're not super, like, they're not white or black or, you know, like really contrasty, and I think that it's cute. I mean, yeah, other buttons could have worked too, but I didn't want to go through all the ones I had. I'll show you what it looks like unbuttoned. Here is what it looks like unbuttoned. It's got quite a lot of width. We'll talk about measurements in a second, but let me show you the back. Look at that line. That line is hecka cute. Both sides, so cute. That braid is really adorable. Here's a little closer. You can see some Winnie hair on there. Okay, now I'm going to sit down. Let's talk about it. Oh, before I sit down, let me just show you this too. I did do anchor buttons. I think I should have picked one a little bit smaller. It does make these buttons a little bit tight to put on, but that's okay because they're not going to mess with the fabric very much. Okay, so that's fun. I really do love it. I think it came out really well. I love the color. This yarn is a little bit scratchy. I definitely think this is maybe a tiny bit softer than like the BFL I use for my cabled red sweater, the Haley sweater, but not as soft as Ulyss. But like not very different from Ulyss. So I think like wear wise, it'll feel like that after a couple wears. Like it'll get a little bit felty inside. It'll be a little bit nicer on my arms. But also for a cardigan, I don't really care. I am wearing a tank top today with this. Quite often, I probably will wear this more in the summer with a t-shirt. And even still, like maybe where I notice it most is like right at my elbows. But like I'm not gonna go do big activities in this. I shouldn't get super sweaty, so it shouldn't be very itchy. Fine around my neck, and I'm wearing a higher necked thing, but like it hasn't bothered me at all while filming. So here's the measurements. It was supposed to be like 49 3/4 inches or something. I ended up with a 54-inch bust. I did know I was going to be off gauge because I did my swatch and decided not to go down a needle size. It made all the measurements a little bit different, but I think body wise, this is actually perfect because I did pick 49 1/4. So a size 4. Knowing I would be over gauge, but also knowing I didn't want a super huge. This is about 8 inches on me, so that's actually pretty close to what is recommended for ease. And I wanted it to be like less than that in reality, but this is what I've got, and I actually really like the look of that. Like I think the look is nice. I think what I like if it was a little bit smaller is that this would just sit a little higher on my shoulder. And I would like that also. I think a more fitted version would be nice. I'm not going to make this again probably ever, but if I would do more cabled things, just things to note. The body is 11 inches from underarm to hip. I think that was like, it hits at a really nice place. So even though I wish the pockets were a little bit deeper, so therefore those 4 rows would have been nice, I still like where this hits me. The overall from shoulder to hem is 22 inches. The bicep is 16. I think going up those sizes to, even though, you know, the widest part of my bicep is here, and, you know, down here for sleeve is not as much. I could have done with a little less room. I still think I like the way that the shoulder sits, picking up more stitches. My cuff was 10 inches, and the length of the sleeves is 19, which is pretty long for this kind of drop. And the V from the back to when the button is buttoned is 7 inches, which I do actually wish that this V was a little bit deeper. And I know some people just did not put this top button on, but because I did a short row here, I think it still looks best to have that. Things I adjusted, obviously the big mod from Neat and Pearl, Ali, who's super craft delicious on Instagram, wrote up to do the change in shoulder with the extra braid that goes along your arm. It goes underneath and along the back. That's the biggest mod. I also did do short rows. I did 4. I did 2 right here, and I did 2 along the back neck. I think it does make it sit a little bit nicer. I don't have a comparison, obviously, because I didn't make one without, but I do think it sits really nicely. And I picked up just more stitches for sleeves. I just picked up a ratio I liked, and because everything else, like you have the chart part and everything else is in Moss Stitch, you can really just do whatever you want. And that's it. And yeah, otherwise, other than being off engaged. Oh, sorry, the other mod I did make is... I did this pocket single layer and I sewed it down. So there's just one layer of fabric that continues in pattern all the way. So like a full diamond in here. And that is, you know, kind of how it's written, except, and then I did a sewn bind off here and just sewed that down. And per pattern, you would pick this up and you'd basically knit a tube. So it would be 3 full layers. I didn't need 3 full layers. This yarn is quite thick. I had enough yarn to do 3 full layers, but I also just, that would make it feel even more narrow. And it's already a pretty narrow pocket. So I just decided to do it and sew it down, and I enjoy it. I think it looks great. That's it for mods and things. So let's talk about ratings. Pattern first. Would I make it again? I just don't think I would want another one of these again. Also, this required a lot of mods. And I probably, if I was just making it by myself, would have just picked a different pattern that I liked all of the things about it. But I made this with friends. I think Ariel's done, then me, and we have Maya, Katie, and Sylvan all to finish still. And then we'll take a picture of us all together and it'll be really great. I do like the feel of it. I think I will wear it a ton, not only because it's cute and fun and I feel proud of the cables and all of those things, but it's a color that I love so much that I'm going to grab it over and over and over and over and over again. So there's that. Okay. Yarn, Mota. This was my first time using Mota. It is, like I said, quite woolly. I really think it's an amazing cable yarn. Like the cables pop so much. The Moss Stitch pops even. Like it's just stunning. I really, really enjoy it. It is not the softest thing ever. So if you're trying to like make a turtleneck or something, I would probably tell you not to. I think it will soften up with wear. I'm not a big washer, so it's going to take a long time to soften with washes, but I do think that it will stay nice for years, and that is worth it to me when I spend this much time on it. And I'll still grab it to wear. So for me, because I don't have a lot of sensitivities, this was a really great yarn. I would use selectively in other projects. Also, the price was right, and I think I got it at going out of sale yarn store for half off almost, and it was like $5 a ball or something. Like it was super cheap, and so that helps. Yardage wise for this was just over 600 grams. So the total yardage was 1536. Now, a lot of my skeins had a little bit of overage with like commercially available yarns. I mean, even though this is like small, obviously small batch stuff, there's not usually as much overage. So this had some, so that helped me. You know, I could have made the decision to add a little bit of length, but I did use like fully what I thought I would need, which was 6 skeins. Okay, we are going to do a rapid fire project updates because I want to do that. So I'm going to do Calm Night Cami first, and here it is. I have finished the neckline, which actually the neckline is a lot thinner than I thought it was going to be, like for the double knitting. So it's just like 5 stitches. It's super thin. It is curling right now, but I have 100% faith it will block out. The armholes are done. I joined back to the body, and I have knit an inch. So I mean, I've got a good amount of body knit at this point, so I just have to keep going. And yeah, I'm excited to have this one in the relatively near future. Let me flash all the details up for that really fast before we move on. Hopefully I'll put them up right away, but this is size 5, a 47-inch bust, recommended ease is 1 to 3 inches. That's 1 inch for me. 3.25 millimeter needles for the body, 3 for the all of the edging so far, and then this is Treehouse Knits Cypress Silky Camel, which is 50% camel, 50% silk, and it's fingering weight, and it's really lovely. The next one is my Amoretta Blouse. This is a pattern by Isabella Clarke, who is 100 Acre Wool. Here's the quick update, and then we'll do sizing for this one too. So I used this as my knit for the weekend. So my knitting friend Katie did get married this past weekend. It was really lovely. All parts of the wedding were fun and great, and we all had the best time. We hung out Friday, Saturday, and Sunday all together, and I still convinced Ariel to knit with me on Monday. So yeah, and I got to bring Theo to a couple of the things, and Mike, you know, obviously went with me to the wedding. We got cute, which was fun for us, and so had a great time. Okay, this is where I was last week. I had joined in the rounds, like, oh, I hadn't even, y'all had the half of a row left or something to join in the round. And so I did. And I put in almost all of this just during the weekend, just different things that we were going to. And I was working on other stuff when I was in the house. So this was quite a lot. That's a lot. That's 4 inches or more of just knitting. So I'm just knitting in the round. I am connected to 2 balls right now. I'm going to actually pause maybe this week and do the sleeves with one of the balls that's connected, so that I don't have too much of a color change, just in case there's a slight difference between my, you know, first, second, and third skeins. And so I'll wind my third skein finally. I think I'll just need to crack into that a little bit, but yeah, here we are. Okay, for the Amoretta then, really fast, it is a size 5, 44-inch bust. Recommended ease is 0 inches to -2 inches that I'm going to make closer to -2 for me. 3.75 millimeter needles for the body, with ZZ Textiles silk sock, which is an 80/20, 400 yards for 100 grams, and in the color Nordlies from her sweater quantity library. At one point there were like 4 of us working on this, sitting at a table together, and that was really fun. The next one that got some work, not a ton, but a little, and is my read and knit right now, and that is my Compass Crew DK by Claire Jackson, who's perfectly knotted. This is a test knit. This will not come out until the fall. I have this on barber cords and other things because I did do a first and only so far try on of this. So this is where I was last week in the body. So I've added about, I don't know, that's almost 3 inches, probably a little bit over, 3 inches to the body. And then this is just a strand here. And then I had a little bit of sleeve started. So here I was on the sleeve, and I did all the way till my last decrease. So I just hit that last night, and then I picked up, and like I said, I was going to knit, you know, a couple of inches so that I would know how it really sits on me before I decide on cuffs. This is a perfect length. It's maybe even a tad bit long, but I think that's okay because I would rather have it go like a little bit further than ripping back to mess with the last bit of decreases. Like, it's not enough for it to matter. So I'm going to do the 2 inches of cuff today, hopefully, for that, to go back to finishing the other sleeve before I go back to body. So I'm not going to finish the sweater by the time I finish the book, but I may be able to finish all of the sleeves and that amount of the body before I finish the books, because I still have several hours left to listen. That would be cool, huh? Like, how exciting. And that is a size 5. It's a 46-inch bust. Recommended ease is 2 to 6 positive inches. I decided to base this a little bit more on the ease I would have from my upper bust, and I did do a small amount of bust art. It is sitting really nicely. When I tried that on, I was like, wow, these bust darts are in the right place. It's perfect. I'm using a 4.5 millimeter needles for the body, which is what's recommended. And that is Witchfire Fibers Classic DK, which is 100% superwash merino 231 for 100 yards, and is in the color Take It Off, which is the Throne of Glass color from the last book, Kingdom of Ash, which is what I'm reading. Next one is my mini Battenberg. I did make a schedule for myself. I am dead on for having 15 squares done in my first week. So I made 14 of these this week because I only had the one done that was the right size. I am using a 3mm needle, not the 2.75 recommended. I'm using only 5 different colors. So we've got teal, darker blue. These all have real names, which I will eventually tell you. Yellow, this fun green. And so all of these are the same Debbie Bliss Merino, Cashmerino, like tonals. I think it's called like tonals, but they have a little bit of variation in them. And then this is like a different one that I've just had for many years in my stash. It's just like a peachy color, no variegation. And they're going to be joined with gray. So I have 15 done out of 44 that I need for the body. And then I need some half squares and then 2 triangles just for the front. So not bad. Those half squares hopefully take me half the time, but I can do one in a little less than 10 minutes, which is not super fast. Maybe it's a little less than that, but it's like, I mean, that's not a bad thing. Like I can get through a bunch of them without it taking many, many, many hours a week. And so I think I'm going to stay to this schedule for now so I can get it done this summer. Okay, the next thing is my only cast on for the week, and that is my Toru. I did not cast on my sock though. Last night I did some pattern checking to see what sock I'd want to do, and I did pick my sock. The Toru second Cal knit that I'm doing for the PKW Flock U Cal that I am hosting with my friends Ariel and Emily, who also have podcasts, you can see their links below, is the Queen's Cami. I did put a vote out on Instagram. This one did win, not a huge margin over the Skyline Tee, but I decided to go with the masses on this one. And I am really excited about this color. I also saw somebody else this week cast this color on it. I was like, yep, you're right. I do want to knit in that color. So I did a couple of things that are sort of suggesting the pattern, but like, you know, that you could do one of 2 things. So number 1 is that I cast on with a long tail cast on with 2 the inside and outside of the ball. And I did that on purpose so that I could give myself a long tail that I could, it's got a little hair, it's got a baby hair tie around it right now that I can keep and I can use to sew down the hem. I prefer to sew down a hem than do the pick up and knit 2 together, not only because it takes 900 years to do, but also because I'm hoping that I'll find less flipping of the fabric if I don't have as tight of a tension. And so I sew down like every other stitch usually, or like maybe 2 out of 3 or something. And so you have a little less tension on the fabric, so it shouldn't pull it up to flip it. So it's got a purl ridge here. And so I'll just fold along that line, find the right row, and then just whip stitch it down. I'm not going to do that until I have like probably 5 or 6 inches of body so that I can comfortably do it, but I will do it before it's done. So I know if I like that. But I am in short rows right now. So this is slightly longer here in the back and going to be a little bit longer. And so I just did like 3 out of 7 or something last night. And so, but it was time for bed. But that's where I am. And so after I do those, and that's to give like a little bit of a curved hem on the back, I will then just knit for a long time. And there is a change in gauge. This is 4mm needles that you start with. Then you go to 3.5 and then you go to 3.25. I think that's the last one I end on. And that's the final gauge for over the bust. I did pick a smaller size for this than I typically would have. I picked a size 40 bust, which is smaller than what's recommended. So the recommended ease on this is 2 to 4 inches negative ease. I mean, I have a 46-ish inch bust. The size though is 40 or 44. 44 would have been 2 inches. But what I find is that I like a little bit more negative ease when it's like a cami like this, I think. I've not made that many tank tops to really know. But I think what I'm going to do actually is I'm going to give myself small bust darts. I think it's more because I like the upper bust to be a little bit tighter. And since my upper bust is smaller, you know, I've got like a 4-inch difference, that I decided to just go with a smaller size, give myself a small amount. And I've done a lot of bust darts recently. I'm going to just do vertical. So I'm going to increase a couple stitches and then decrease right before casting off for the underarms. And I think that will give me just a tiny bit more room in the bust to have really nice, like a nice fit across both my upper bust and my full bust. So that's what I decided. That is all for knitting projects. I do have my spin is I've got on the wheel, and I'm not going to pull it off. I've got 2/3 of my second skein done. I'm not going to finish all of this before Tour de Fleece, so part of my Tour de Fleece plan will be to finish and apply all of this during Tour de Fleece, but also I've got some plans of a couple other things I would like to get done during the month. I'm not doing a sweater spin. More of my goal is going to be related to minutes, but is something that I just want to. There are a couple things I'm like, I would love if I just started this and went through this process. So that is all for today. I hope that was fun for you. The 100 things was really fun to think about and go back through a couple of years of things, information, data, and projects, and it's like memory lane going down Ravelry. But yeah, I am so grateful for all of you for sticking with me. Some of you since episode 1, which I find to be quite crazy. And some of you have gone back and watched the episodes, even if you found me a little bit later. So for all of you, thank you so much to you, the best community ever, for leaving comments, joining Discord, giving me likes, just it does, you know, all the little things. You don't have to be a chatter person. I still know you're here, and I thank you so much for watching. If you would love to continue some conversation below, obviously I love that. One of the things I always love to know is what you're working on. So if you want to share that with me this week, if any of my 100 surprised you, you had thoughts about it, there's other categories you want me to talk about or things you wanted me to expand on, let me know below. I'd love to continue that conversation as well. As always, you can find me on Discord and Instagram. Slide into those DMs if you have questions or you just don't want to post it here for everybody to see. That is fine with me. And don't forget, for everybody, the cow call is going to be next week, Tuesday, the 8th at 4:30 p.m. Pacific time. It will be on my Discord. If you have not joined yet and you want to hang out with us, please join there. And you can just, you'll see the invite. I'm still have to make that today. But you have to just join the community hangout. And we'll be there hanging out, chatting. We are usually on video. If you don't want to be on video, that's also okay. You can just come listen. If you are a quiet person, let me know. If you just want to be a listener, that's also fine. We don't do a lot of call outs. It's very casual. It's fun. I will ask everybody to share their projects if they're willing. And so that's what we're going to do. That's when I will see you next. Otherwise, if you're not joining us, or if it doesn't work for your time zone, I'm sorry. Just what worked for our schedule this time around. I will get back to my regular monthly calls, and I'll make sure that some of those happen in the morning so that our other time zone friends can join. But thank you again so much for being here, supporting me, supporting each other, and just spending some time with a fiber friend. I will see you next week. Take care of your bodies and have fun with your fiber art of choice. Bye.